Good morning. This video is going to go over how to convert from atoms to moles or from moles to atoms. So for example, if you're given the number of atoms and it asks you to find the number of moles, or if you're given the number of moles and it asks you to find the number of atoms. So let's start with an example question. So the question is, how many nickel atoms are in 3.4 moles of nickel? Now we know that in 1 mole of any substance or any compound equals 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd atoms. Okay, so we can use the conversion factors or the dimensional analysis that we did last week to help us figure this question out. So always start with what you have. We have 3.4 moles. I always put the 1 on the bottom just so that it's all in a fraction. And so we need to have moles down here in order for them to cancel. So we know, since moles is up here, we have to have moles down there. Well, we know that in 1 mole of nickel, there is 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd atoms. Okay, so moles would cancel. We are left with the only unit, which is atoms. So come back and look at your question. It's asking for atoms, so we know we don't have to go any further. So we would just multiply then 3.4 times 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd, and that would all be over 1. And that would end up giving us 2.05 times 10 to the 24th atoms. Okay, piece of cake, right? So let's try one on your own. For this one, calculate the number of lithium atoms in 4.5 moles of lithium. So pause the video and try and work on this question on your own. So we know that we have 4.5 moles of lithium, okay? That's what we're starting with. So again, we're going to make a fractions. We want moles to be down below so they cancel, right? We know that in 1 mole of lithium, there are 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd atoms. Moles would cancel, right? Up and down, which leaves us with the only unit left, which is atoms. And it says calculate the number of atoms. So that's the answer we want. So then you would take 4.5 times 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd, and that would give you 2.7 times 10 to the 24th atoms. Now, the next example, we're going to swap this. We're going to figure out how many moles are in a certain number of atoms. So we've gone from moles to atoms, and now we're going to go from atoms to moles. So let's say we're given this problem. We have 2.05 times 10 to the 24th atoms, and we want to know how many moles that equals, okay? And we're looking at nickel. So again, write what you start with. We have 2.05 times 10 to the 24th atoms over 1. Make a conversion factor. Atoms is on top here, so it has to be down below. So how many atoms then are in a mole? Well, we know that there is 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd atoms in 1 mole. So if we take this number and divide it by this, it will end up equaling 3.4 moles. So we were given the number of atoms, and with that, we are able to figure out the number of moles. So you're just working backwards. So as long as you set up your your conversion factors correctly, it's easy to check your work and figure out the answer that you need for different situations. So work on the 4 questions on the first assignment. If you have questions, let me know.